We're all here anyway.
Yeah, we're here.
What else do we have to do?
Nothing. Not much. Oh, I gotta open the chat.
Oh,
Here. In case there are any chatters that would like to chat in our chat stream.
I think you meant to say Shah. It's a French word.
Shaw.
right.
Shaw. I did.
Of course, that means cat, but
Oh, wait, what? Hello and welcome to episode 839 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. I'm your host, Chris Johnston, and with me, as always, from Canada, Mr. Greg Seward.
Yellow.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It is.
Everywhere you look in your home, sir.
Yep. It's. I find the Christmas decorations are melding nicely with the general mess. It's kind of, from this
General
view, it's
mess.
kind of hard to say what on that table is supposed to be there
Uh-huh.
and what's not. So I'm okay with that.
I like it, though.
No,
Are those stocking hangers? So
Those
the
are
stockings
stocking
are going to
hangers.
be hung by the coffee table with glee,
no, they're just sitting there for now.
sitting there for now. Okay,
With care.
placeholder. With care.
CJ.
With care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stockings are hung by things with care.
Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like they were hung with care. There's nothing actually hung
The
there.
thing with those
Just
stocking
the-
holders that they're not nearly heavy enough to hold a stocking that has anything. Even if it was filled, like half filled with, say, socks, that's coming right down.
Oh, really?
So
Oh.
yeah, so
The stockings were hung.
Santa
Well, you
tends
don't put-
to
Weighted socks in there. That's not.
no. Those things do not weigh enough, though. Like Santa tends to lower the stockings to the floor once they're full.
Do they have
Oh.
weighted socks? They have weighted blankets. They have weighted
I
socks.
don't know.
Why would you
wear
want weighted socks?
That doesn't
For
make any
training
sense.
purposes.
I guess,
Yeah,
yeah. If
training.
we didn't want to skip leg day.
You know, when you're in a battle
Exactly.
and it looks like you're about to lose, you just
Take
reveal,
off the socks, and then you're at power level 9,000.
I've been wearing my weighted socks this whole time, and you take them off, and suddenly you can leap and kick with much more ferocity.
Say the over 40-year-old gentleman on this podcast. All right. Joining me from the great state
I
of
can't leap
Washington.
or kick.
Me neither. Mr. Filthy Evolved.
That's me.
Hello.
I can leap and kick with the best of them.
I don't believe that for a second.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what was our episode title?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
There we
I
go.
like that.
That wasn't
That's
a
not
leap.
much of a leap. No.
Was a kick
I wouldn't say that was a kick with the best of them.
with the very
Maybe
best.
maybe the best on this show.
Yes. That's the only measure.
Extremely low bar.
See,
by
what you
which-
should have said, Phil, is that it was so lightning quick we couldn't tell
Right.
that our old eyes perceived it as being
That's right.
not good when in
I mean,
actuality.
I am wearing progressive lenses, so
See?
Are you still wearing? You're still wearing those?
yeah, I finally got used to them.
Yeah. I had no problem getting used to them.
Yeah,
I'm
it took,
fine
a,
with it.
Bully for you.
took a week or so.
It took
Mine
longer
didn't
than
even
you.
take a week.
Oh, really?
I love that this video game podcast now is talking about how long it took us to
Getting
get
old.
used to progressive
I
lenses. What a bunch of old men.
When
Wanna
we
hear how
started
my
this,
recent colonoscopy went.
Remember when we started? We were either not married or just married. Didn't have any kids yet.
Yeah.
Now it's like, how'd your colonoscopy go?
It went quite well, actually.
Yeah, I know. Bill. We saw the tweets.
we saw
No,
the
this was the more recent one.
Oh, okay.
more
I had
recent
one
one.
a few weeks ago. You got to have those every few years.
Pretty soon you're gonna have 4,000 characters to describe it on Twitter. So
Oh my God.
that.
Oh, is that true?
Well, that's what
I have-
they. That's what
I
they're
haven't been
saying.
following any of the Twitter drama. Been trying not to anyway,
Smart move.
with limited success. All right. Should we talk about video games?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, if we're done talking about
I think
know.
maybe we should.
old man stuff,
You want to talk about more old man stuff?
no, I'm good.
Okay. Well, the Game Awards happened last week. Don't know if you were aware.
I watched them the day after.
Yeah.
I was running some counter programming on the night of the Game Awards.
on
was playing-
Twitch.
Ease 3 for the Genesis
Hmm.
instead, and I like to think that my audience was pretty close to Jeff's.
Yeah.
pretty close, and by that I mean some of them were probably sitting very close to people who were watching the Game Awards.
Well, you're probably doing a squad stream with Jeff Keighley, right? I mean,
Well, we're
he's
we're
in
both
the same,
Canadian.
same wheelhouse.
Yeah, we're both Canadian.
Yeah,
so-
exactly.
And we're both pretty successful. I like to think, wow,
Uh-oh.
Phil's gone.
Phil left.
I like to think we're both pretty successful in
Yeah.
ways we've chosen to be successful. Anyway,
Sure.
I have a a podcast listened to by dozens. It's been going
Yeah.
for 15 years now.
I
Jeff
think
can't
it's
say that.
It's 16 now.
Oh, God.
I think it's 16. 2006 to 2022.
Can Jeff say that? No, he can't.
That's 16.
But he has an awards show. I don't have an awards show. So, but we're pretty much the same otherwise.
I see. All right.
Yeah.
Well, looks like Phil's computer.
Both good friends with Hideo
locked up.
Kojima.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
His computer locked up, did it? Okay.
What about Al Pacino? How do you feel about Al
That was the
Pacino?
weirdest thing. They carted him out. It's like, what is
Also,
going
why?
on? Why? Exactly.
I was
and
on
then
a call during that time, so I didn't actually get to hear what was being said.
he didn't say anything. Mostly he just stood there and said, I don't play video games.
Ah,
First of all, he couldn't read the teleprompter, which was hilarious because it was so I'm assuming so small, and he's a million years old.
right.
And you know what? I'm right there with
I get
you,
it.
Al.
I get it.
But yeah, and then he kind of stumbled through that. He's like, I don't play video games, but I've watched my kids play them. And it's like, okay, and I get it. You're there for the performance, and you're a very respected actor. And I thought the funniest part was what was the name of the guy who won for God of War?
Oh, the voice actor.
Yeah, I
I
forget
don't
his name.
remember.
I don't know his name, but anyway, he had the longest speech,
longest
accepted speech in history, and the whole time Al Pacino's standing there. Chris Judge, and all I was thinking was like, dude, like Al's like a million years old.
At least
Get
get him a
like,
seat.
Get him a chair or something.
Get him a chair.
No. Anyway,
Was it that God of the Kratos acceptance speech that went on a while? Because I
Yeah.
wasn't actively watching it with the sound on. I had it muted in the background, and that went on a while. Like, I was kind of surprised. Normally, don't
It
they
went
play
on-
people off?
well, that's just it. And they did finally start playing the music, and I don't know if you noticed through the rest of the show that they started playing the music a little quicker.
A little
For
quicker,
everyone
yeah,
else. Like, I
exactly.
think they learned, and I thought it was funny because I saw people saying that they thought that Jeff, first of all, Jeff bringing it up multiple times through the night, I don't think that was him complaining.
No,
because I think Jeff's smart enough to know that that was sort of a moment that people are going to remember.
exactly.
But it was funny that it went for so long, and also the fact that Steam was giving away a Steam Deck every minute. They must have given away like 30 during that speech. So
Yeah.
But anyway,
that was
yeah.
good.
it was a cool moment. But I did feel bad for the old man Al standing over there.
Yeah. So, what'd you think of the show overall?
It was the Game Awards.
I thought it was even though Keeley said that it was going to be 2.5 hours and it went over that. I think it was still a pretty well paced show in general. I thought all the trailers shown were really good.
Yeah, I mean, it's my complaints about it are the same as they always are, which is that I would love to see the awards get more
Yeah.
screen time, because I really didn't like how they were bundling up 6 awards at a time and just
Yeah.
firing them out there. I mean, at least they got mentioned, I guess, but I get it. And the show has always been more about new trailers. And I mean, as far as that goes,
Sure.
I think it was really successful.
Yeah.
There was a lot of cool stuff shown, a lot of world premieres. Although the pre-show, the phrase "world premiere" was being thrown around pretty fast and loose, but
Sure.
Yeah,
You mean with like new modes in existing games?
yeah, or
Things like
games
that.
coming. Like there was the world premiere of
Returnal.
Vampire Survivor or Returnal, but it was just the PC version. Like, well, is that a world premiere really?
Well,
technically,
we didn't know the date, right?
Yeah,
And
okay.
same with Last of Us Part 1 on PC.
yeah,
Didn't
whatever.
know the date. But yeah, there were some interesting reveals in that pre-show, including I think Dead Cells Castlevania was that
was cool.
crossover was in the pre-show.
Oh,
That looks fun.
I'm very excited.
I should actually play Dead Cells.
I love Dead Cells. I love Dead
Cells is
Cells.
I should play more of it. The new mode in Among Us that then debuted like the day
Hide
after
and seek.
the Game Awards. Yeah,
Yeah.
hide and seek.
If I played Among Us, I mean, I thought that mode looked really cool. I don't play Among
yeah.
Us, but
Hmm.
I thought it looked cool.
It's fun when you're playing with people you know.
Hmm.
It's not so much fun playing just with a group of
Randos.
preteens.
Wasn't that supposed to be the point, though? You're not supposed to know who the imposter is.
Yeah,
So,
but in this mode you do, right?
Yeah, one of the characters is a beast.
Yeah,
It's just going around murdering.
and you have to
everyone.
hide from the
gotcha.
beast. You can see who it is.
It looked neat.
Okay.
It did. Some of the trailers that stood out to me: Judas, which is the new Ken
Judas,
Levine.
yes. I'm very excited because I feel like I was only, we're only burned with Infinite. I really liked BioShock 2. I loved BioShock.
Yeah.
So yeah, Infinite wasn't good, but I'm totally
No.
down for giving Levine another chance. And
Here's the
that
problem.
trailer looked good.
I'm not going to be able to trust reviews on
No.
this thing.
Because boy,
No.
the reviews
Because-
loved Infinite, didn't they?
Reviews loved Infinite. I did not.
No.
But
To be fair, Infinite starts out really strong. I mean, Infinite doesn't fall apart until like a third of the way into the game. I found.
I disagree with that. Actually, I think it starts falling apart much earlier
Really?
than that. But it looked. I want to like it, but I'm cautiously optimistic that it'll be. What
Me too.
I want. And it's taken so long for him to make this thing, right?
Right.
Because he's been developing this for what 10
Well, he's an
years now, or
auteur.
something? since Infinite came out. Yeah. I thought
I don't know. I'm still
Riftblade
excited.
looked cool. That's from the makers of Celeste.
Yeah, I kind of switched
Um,
off on that because wasn't really crazy about Celeste.
Yeah. Don't Nod is making a fantasy like RPG called Banishers Ghosts of New Eden.
Yep, that looked really cool.
interesting. I thought that crime boss
What
Rockay
was
City
the
or
deal
whatever.
with that?
That's got like
yeah.
Danny Glover, Michael Rooker, like all these 80s actors, and the
But-
80s soundtrack.
I was gonna say the thing that I found about that is not only the cast is crazy,
Yeah.
but like those characters are clearly playing. Like Danny Glover is clearly playing his character from Lethal Weapon,
Yeah.
Correct.
right? I mean that's
You know he's
Michael
going to say,
Madsen,
I'm
yeah,
getting
like-
too old for this
yeah.
shit.
I mean Chuck
the
Norris is clearly Walker Texas Ranger. I mean that's. But I'm watching it and I'm like, this is rad. What is it though? Like I
What
don't
is
even
it?
really get what it is exactly.
There was a little bit longer gameplay bit on GameSpot after the Game Awards, and it seems like a GTA, and I'm not sure if it's going to be multiplayer, but the
That's what I'm
mission that
worried
I
about.
saw, you were in a party of 4 doing a heist.
Mm.
But it looks good though. It looks good.
It definitely checks all the boxes for me, but the whole squad based thing is what's got me worried. I'm not.
Well, that
down
might
with
only be one part of it. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it depends. But I'm interested in that because it looked cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So the developers of Darksiders Genesis, Battle Chasers Night War, and what other game did they do? Oh, Ruined King are doing a fantasy MMO called Wayfinder that looks really good to me. I really like the art style. It's very vibrant, very like bright
Mhm.
colors and stuff. And it's an MMO, but it looks cool. So I'll give it a try. I'm going to want to give it a try. I signed up for the beta test that they have going starting next week. We'll see if it's any good, but I was excited about that one. Blue Protocol looked pretty cool, like as a sort of Phantasy Star Online-esque, very anime-esque MMO. I imagine a lot of those things are going for the same thing that Genshin Impact is doing, but yeah, I thought it looked pretty cool.
Genshin Impact, big winner on the night.
Genshin Impact winning the People's Choice thing, right?
Mm.
Yep.
People really like that game.
They really do.
I never really got into it,
No.
but
Yeah,
it
I
looks
tried.
great. It looks great. Transformers Reactivate. Did you see the trailer for this?
Yeah,
Sure
I'm.
did.
What do you think,
of
Phil?
that?
Uh,
Are you excited about that?
I'm very curious about it. I have to admit that I'm intrigued that they are doing something with Transformers that is not some sort of variant on G1,
Mhm.
where it's not Optimus Prime is good guy, Megatron is bad guy,
Mhm.
and they shoot at each other.
Yeah.
They're doing something completely off the wall for the Transformers license, which I'm surprised that Hasbro is letting them do.
Right.
And that's what makes me kind of curious about it.
But
That's-
also good.
That's pretty much how I
Maybe.
feel. I don't know that I loved what I saw in the trailer,
Yeah.
but the fact that it was because it didn't look like a Transformers game
No.
until the very end, where it's like, oh, okay, that's a Transformer they were just reactivating.
Presumably
Um,
Bumblebee. Is he yellow?
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Bumblebee.
Yeah.
But it's like nothing out of that trailer. Before that point, I'd pretty much tuned out on the trailer. It's just
Right.
like, okay, this doesn't look like something I'm going to play. You know, that's fine.
Right.
But now it's like, oh, it's Transformers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I think I better pay a little bit of attention to this at least.
Yeah. So I've seen like Transformers fan sites going through kind of frame by frame, kind of picking out little background details. Like there's one shot where there's a couple vehicles that are kind of racing past you, and someone like freeze framed it, and it's like, oh, that kind of looks like it's got ratchets, like the little like medical heart rate thing from the movie. So it's like, oh, maybe that's Ratchet, and then like some of the aliens flying through the air that are attacking Earth. There's some freeze frames, and it's like, oh, this kind of look like they might be the Quintessons and that kind of thing. So it's like, okay,
there's potential there.
Yeah,
For
we'll
sure.
see. I'm very curious.
Yeah. Jedi Survivor. What do you think?
I
That trailer looked pretty
Looks great.
damn good.
pre-ordered it already.
Looks great.
I enjoyed the first game.
This was
Did you finish the first game?
I did.
Okay.
I did indeed.
How long
I-
did it
I-
take you?
I what's that?
How long did it take you?
Oh, geez, I don't remember.
We need a
Um,
website. How long did it take Phil to beat?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it wasn't. It certainly couldn't have been terribly long if I finished it.
Right.
You know, I'm guessing somewhere in the 15 to 25 hour range.
perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
Unless
I
you
loaded it up on because it's part of cloud gaming. It's part of Game Pass.
Yeah.
And I want to start playing it, but I have too many games in progress right now.
How
the same
long to
problem.
beat?
Yeah.
.com
Yeah.
is saying for the main story a little over 17 hours,
Perfect. Okay.
That's a great amount of time.
which is probably what I would have done because I certainly didn't go and try and 100% it or anything like that.
And you were
so.
playing on an easier difficulty, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. I don't remember for sure, but yes.
Most likely.
I don't know if it was the easiest or one up from that, but certainly it would have been on one of the
Yeah.
easier difficulties.
Hades 2.
Don't care.
No?
Really?
Are
I
you
didn't
not a
play
Hades?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, Hades is a good game.
Hades
I'm
is
sure
a
it
good
is.
Why
game.
you like a good game?
I'm
Why
not
do you like
obsessed
good
with
games,
Hades
Greg?
like a lot of people are, but Hades is a very good game.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely looking forward to part 2, even though I never finished part 1 because I enjoy Hades, but I am terrible at it.
So,
Me too.
who makes Hades?
Supergiant.
Is this their first sequel?
Yes.
That's cool.
Oh, is it really?
It is. They
I saw somebody
think
tweet that.
I think they previously were just like they were against sequels. They didn't
Mhm.
want to do
Just like Pixar was once.
But they're very much in favor of money.
Yeah.
very much
Funny.
in favor of money.
Funny how that works.
Yeah. Well, it's a sequel that's also
We're
going to be
against
put
sequels,
out
but this game was a big hit.
Yeah.
into early access So it'll have a real long tail on that money machine,
Right.
right? Like
We are against
I have
sequels.
to imagine.
Until we can be sure that our sequels will make a
I was
lot of
gonna
money.
say, yeah.
Yeah.
We can bring it out to each platform separately. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll do well. But anything else catch your eye?
Yeah, I thought I've just got a few listed here. I thought Viewfinder looked neat.
That
Look
did.
really-
That was
seen something about Viewfinder before,
Have we?
because I mean, maybe it wasn't that game, but I swear I've seen like maybe a tech demo footage or something that
That
used that
mechanic.
kind of mechanic.
Yeah.
That was the thing that struck me as I was watching the trailer, is that it looked like some kind of tech demo.
Yeah,
well, it
right.
reminded me
Um,
of a game like Superliminal or Gorogoa, where you kind of like put together an image and then go into it or whatever. Like,
Either way, it was
But-
very effective.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
as I was
I'm
watching,
very
it was like,
effective.
wow, this looks
Yeah.
so cool.
it
I'm
does.
definitely
Yeah.
curious about that game. It looks like
Yeah.
it's gonna be kind of neat.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
After Us is another one that I tagged as something that I thought looked really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying
Okay.
to remember what it looked like now. Also, I'm surprised, Phil, you didn't bring this up yet. Oh, of course, maybe you haven't gone through a list. Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord.
Oh,
That looks like
Is
something
that the
we
VR
should
game?
play. Yes, it was the VR game.
Oh, okay. You know
Yeah.
what? I did not, because I didn't watch the awards live,
Oh, okay.
because I never do. So I just kind of go through and watch trailers that I'm interested in. I didn't see anyone
Okay.
link to that. So
That feels like something that the three of us and like Paul Mattingly
should play
should play together.
on a
Okay.
stream.
Because you're one of four Ghostbusters working
Okay.
together to bust ghosts.
I mean,
Looks
that's also what Ghostbusters Spirits Within,
Yeah, but
or
this is VR,
sorry,
bro.
Spirits Unleashed is
But this is
on
VR.
console. You want to do the VR game, you don't want to do the console game.
You're right.
Okay.
well, is this one of CJ's little
No,
synchronous?
no, it's not.
Okay, so I might
This
have
one
fun
is
with
not.
this one.
No, this isn't. Yeah.
Nice.
What else? I had Sky. I also had noted as looking kind of interesting. That's from that game company, I believe.
It is, but that was in the
That
awards
already
'cause
out?
they were doing a concert.
Yeah, okay. I'd never heard of it. That was the
Hmm.
thing.
That's
So,
been out on mobile for
Yeah.
a
So I
while.
don't follow mobile games. And then Replaced. I noted down Replaced as well. I thought looked really, really interesting.
Hmm.
I also loved that they did this. Hearing that Kevin Conroy
Oh yeah.
is the voice of Batman in Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I still have my sorry. I'm not 100% sure. I hope that game's really good. I want that game to be really good. But yeah, knowing that Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman one last time, that was a really nice touch.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It also
Now,
brought
that
up
one is
sorry.
a multiplayer focused type.
I know, and that's why I'm not. Yeah, that's why I'm not super excited about it. But
Yeah.
still, I love any trailer with it. I mean, even if
Yeah.
that hadn't been the point of the trailer, I really liked the trailer in general, where they had like the Flash. They were carrying around like the Flash's body, and anyway, I love
Yeah.
the idea behind that game. But I'm squad based. I don't know,
Yeah.
online squad based stuff.
You just
But
gotta
anyway-
play with people you know.
But I only know you
Like-
guys. I don't even like
like
you guys
me.
that much.
I'll play it. I'll play it
Well,
with
you know what? If Paul says no, I'll let you know.
Wait, what?
There we go.
You don't want to play? No.
I am.
But yeah, fun stuff there.
I'm interested in. I want to see more Armored Core.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested to give Armored Core another shot. I've never really gotten into an Armored Core game.
Me neither.
It's been a
I've
long
always loved the
time.
idea of Armored Core.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm curious to see more of Armored Core 6 because I would love to have that
Now,
game click with me.
This is coming after From Software has really their profile has been
Oh, yeah.
raised.
Well,
I know,
that's
right?
quite a bit.
That's what I loved about the fact that this was their big announcement, because like anyone who was around when the Armored Core games were coming out, they felt like such a labor of love.
Yeah.
It's like, because you're watching them and you're
niche.
playing them, yeah, and you're like, there has to be a really, really dedicated crowd of people who love these games, and clearly the people making them had massive love for the series because they wouldn't have kept churning them out otherwise. But now it's gone so dormant because of the whole Soulsborne thing.
Right.
And I kind of really love the fact that they've taken the notoriety and fame that they've gained with the Soulsborne stuff. It's like, all right, now back to the stuff we really want.
Now
like,
we can do,
our original
another
passion.
Armored Core.
Yeah.
Imagine
So
this.
great. Yeah.
Go back to 2006 when we started this podcast and be like, well, in 2022, the final trailer shown at a very major show is going to be for Armored Core.
God.
If we crank out another couple Dark Souls games, maybe we can do another Kingsfield.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, From Software, I think, is a very interesting story because honestly, like they have been churning out basically the same
They've been
two
around for
games
so long.
Yeah.
for how
Mhm.
long exactly?
Yep.
Like Kingsfield is very much proto Dark Souls,
Mhm.
right? And you kind of go through the lineage there, and they've just been remaking and refining the same game over and over and over and over.
It always
again
reminded me.
until it.
It always reminded me of Genki
Mm.
churning out the Tokyo Extreme Racer series.
Mhm.
Like along those same lines, where it's just like this is clearly such a labor of love for this team, and there's obviously I would think a small but very dedicated group of players who just were constantly waiting for the next one.
Yeah.
But that's what Armored Core always was.
Yeah.
But good for them. You know what? Good for From. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And they get to go do a passion project. That's fantastic.
I feel like everything they do is a passion project,
Yeah.
like in different ways, right?
Pretty
Even if, I mean, they've got like this core gameplay loop that people seem to really like, and they've just applied it to different genres. But I do wonder how influenced by Soulsborne games Armored Core is going to be.
I think it will massively be.
Yeah. I mean, I've never played an Armored Core game, so
I have.
I don't know at all what to expect from it, but it's going to have much more time in
soft weirdness.
in the spotlight than any previous Armored Core game ever would
Yeah.
have.
And of course, I'm very excited that there's a new Bayonetta game coming
Yeah,
very
really,
soon.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Jim Henson's Bayonetta Babies
That's what it looked like.
is coming to Switch, and I am delighted about it.
Babies.
Yeah.
Bayonetta Origins, Seriza and the Lost Demon. Whoa.
Yeah.
That was a big surprise. And I can't wait.
It
It looks
cute.
super cute.
It looks super cute.
It really does.
I won't play it, but it's super
No?
cute. Yeah. No.
Not even that. Not even cute baby Bayonetta is going to get you to give it a try.
No.
That's a shame.
Yeah, me neither. But it is cool that they're doing it.
I am delighted
We
by
got to
it.
see we got to see Bowser come on stage twice.
Doug Bowser and the Mario trailer. I'm
Dougie
assuming
B.
you're talking?
Well, he also accepted for Kirby in the pre-show.
That's
Ah.
true. Yeah. Some new Mario movie footage.
Oh yeah.
Continues to look good.
Look like the Mario movie.
Yeah.
I think it's
real
gonna be
pretty
fine.
looking.
I think it's gonna be fine.
I think so
You know, actually, that's one that I need to go find a breakdown because I feel like somebody must have a breakdown out there. There have to be tons of references in that footage we saw, especially where you walk by like I don't know, it was called the Classic Store or something like that.
Antiques. There was an antique shop.
Yeah. It was.
I was
great.
like, there's got to be an old school Famicom in there, right?
Absolutely, there has to be some stuff hidden in there.
I mean, Rob the robot in the background.
Mm.
Yeah.
No,
Anything else catch your eye there, Phil?
that was
That was it.
that was the going through the list of stuff I noticed.
Mm.
We pretty much talked about everything. The only thing I've noted that I don't think we mentioned was the Hellboy game.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That looked
Which
good.
looks really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just based on the visuals,
It looked
looking a lot like the comic, which
Yes,
is
it
pretty
did.
cool.
It did. What do you think of the lack of Xbox stuff? Because after the show, people sort of reacted, especially Xbox fans, that there really wasn't anything in the show from Microsoft whatsoever. And I think one pundit, from Ryan McCaffrey from IGN, called it a slap in the face to Xbox fans, which I don't know that I agree with that part of
by
it.
whom? Microsoft or
Yeah,
by Jeff?
yeah. No,
Okay.
by
do
Microsoft
they
not
have-
really participating in.
What do they have?
Yeah.
Like, do we? And I'm not being facetious.
Well, they
here.
have
It's because I don't follow. What are their big releases that they could have been showing off there?
they have a lot of games that they have announced in some form or fashion, but not shown a second trailer to.
Okay.
Things like Everwild, things like Avowed. They have that big Bethesda game coming out, Starfield
Oh, Starfield
coming out
right.
next year.
Oh yeah.
They have a bunch of those types of
that's
games.
Fair.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't think of the other ones, but they've announced like a bunch of stuff, but almost
Yeah, I wonder what
none
the
of
deal
those
is.
appear at the Game Awards. So I think it's
wonder what the deal
fair to ask the question, like, okay, you have this show where all the platforms are pretty well represented. Where are the Microsoft announcements? Like, because you had Horizon Call of the Mountain, you had the Bayonetta thing from Nintendo, which
That's pretty big.
isn't huge, but
Yep.
it's a Switch thing.
No.
And Microsoft, didn't have anything to show.
Yeah. No.
And they've got how many studios?
I
that
wonder.
are in the middle of trying to acquire Activision Blizzard.
I wonder if the fact that the Game of the Year nominees
Were all PlayStation
were all not all PlayStation, but was Elden Ring PlayStation exclusive?
no.
Okay. But I mean, Stray, Horizon, and God of War. And I mean, anyone who, not saying, we had this discussion a couple weeks ago or last week, I forget, where, I don't think it was a given. Well, it clearly wasn't a given that God of War was going to win Game of the Year because it didn't. But God of War ran the table. Like, I mean, yes, Elden Ring won Game of the Year, but God of War ran the table that night.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they kind of figured that was going to be the case and felt like they didn't want to spend advertising dollars on a show where it was going to be all Sony all the time.
But they did spend advertising dollars on the show because they advertised Game Pass just generally throughout the show.
It's fair. That's because they're
So.
getting ready to release Game Pass on PlayStation.
Yeah, right.
And that's a layer of luck.
Yeah, if only Sony would let them. That ain't happening. All right, are we done with our Game Awards talk?
We'll be part of the settlement over Activision, Blizzard, and Microsoft.
Are we done with our Game Awards talk?
Real quick.
I think so.
Yeah.
What?
Real quick.
We were talking about Ghostbusters earlier. I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah.
See that little handle right there?
I do.
You know what that's a handle for?
No.
Is it a trap?
That is.
No. Oh.
That is. Look at that. I got my Ghostbusters Neutrona wand. Showed up.
Nice. Okay.
Look at that.
Whoa. All right.
There we go. I don't know if you can hear it. If you hear it humming there,
I do.
there you go. Got all the sound effects and such.
Pretty
I
nice.
like
Flashing lights. There we go.
That's excellent.
Heat
There
'em
we
up.
go. Shut all that down. There we go.
See, I think you would like the Spirits Unleashed console game, even though it's a multiplayer game. I think you'd like it.
Those asynchronous.
It's fun though, and
Multiplayer
it
game.
does have a plot. It does have like an overarching story to it.
I think-
Yeah,
I
don't
think
know.
we should get together and finish the final mission in Star Trek.
Oh,
And then we can move on to Ghostbusters. Because we never did finish
Let's
that
do
final
that.
mission.
Let's do that. I thought we did. I
No,
finished it.
I've never finished it.
I have
We
finished
came
it.
I
close.
certainly didn't.
We came
Yeah.
close.
Yes,
Oh well,
And we need our captain back. Paul was a good captain. So
that's true.
that's true.
Well, are we done talking about Game Awards?
the
I
only,
guess we
the only
could
thing
say
I want to say,
Elden Ring won Game of the
Yeah.
Year.
God of War won everything else.
Yeah.
God of War,
Um,
yeah. It was going to be a real upset if God of War won Game of the Year and Elden Ring didn't.
I was bummed, although I mean it is a tough year with the likes of God of War and Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I was really bummed that Plague Tale didn't win anything.
No.
I was kind of hoping they'd get at least
Was it
one
really?
award.
Was it ever gonna though?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was a tough year with Elden Ring and God of War.
The only thing
Being
that
there.
it's won is Greg Stewart's heart.
You're damn right. But I was so excited to see it nominated alongside those games because, again, I just, I really enjoyed it a lot. I get why it didn't win anything, and I'm not about to go into the whole it's rigged or anything. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just as a fan of that game, I was disappointed that it didn't manage to take home even one award.
Yeah.
So,
well then, let's talk about Xbox. Let's talk more about Xbox because why not? It's come out that Microsoft or Xbox game prices in general are going to be raised to $70 starting in 2023. They had for a little while
telling us that games are actually less expensive now than they were 20 years ago.
Yeah, they were for a little while, sort of bucking that trend that PlayStation 5 games started, but they are going to raise them. So there you go, $70 for your AAA video games.
So
and in Canada, meanwhile,
so now my game purchases will be well over $100.
Well over $100.
And I don't care that might be cheaper than it was 20 years ago. It still means I'm going to buy fewer games.
Yeah, but it
especially
really
because
does,
you're buying a license.
It reinforces the value of Game Pass and PlayStation Plus.
It really does.
Services, honestly.
Yeah, it really does. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I mean, you know what? That's probably a fair price for the amount of money that they spend on video games now to make them. I'm sure that's a fair price, but that doesn't make it hurt any less.
That's true. That is true. I find myself, logging into the Game Pass app and just seeing what came out that week and like bouncing around to different games and trying them out and seeing if the, opening 15 minutes are interesting in any way. I do find myself doing that.
That's how I played through Plague Tale, Game Pass.
Yeah.
I've been playing Vampire Survivors, Game Pass.
Yep.
So
you didn't pay for either one?
Nope.
You like a Plague Tale Requiem. You didn't buy it.
Okay, I'm going to buy Vampire Survivors because it's cheap.
Mm-hmm. Well, $4.
I'm not. I mean, I loved Plague Tale, definitely in the running for my game of the year. I'm not spending $120 on it.
Yeah.
I loved it, but I've played it now, and I'm never going to play it again. So whatever.
They got their money from Microsoft.
They did. I wish, had it not been on Game Pass, I would have bought it because I liked the first one so much. The fact that it was on Game Pass, that's how I played it.
Yeah. I find that I don't do that whole sampling thing as much on the PlayStation side just because there is no app.
They really should get some kind of service like Game Pass on the PlayStation.
For the Logitech G Cloud, I literally just go in the Game Pass app and load something up. I can't do that on PlayStation. I can't do that on the PlayStation side. So I just don't really pay attention to that library when I probably should. I mean, there's some good stuff in there. But
it's not day one. That's the biggest problem there.
Yes. Yeah, that is a problem.
Like the day Plague Tale came out, I could play it on Game Pass.
Yeah. True. But you bought God of War Ragnarok. Well, the show bought God of War Ragnarok and Last of Us Part 1.
Yeah.
On day one. But anyway, let's go back to Microsoft because they have apparently made a deal to bring Call of Duty to the Switch. This is,
oh God,
sort of adding on to that whole back and forth about Call of Duty and the Activision Blizzard acquisition, and that they offered PlayStation a 10-year deal that they haven't replied to. But hey, Nintendo took it. Nintendo was taking a 10-year deal, and Valve too. And then I think Valve came out later and said, yeah, they can put it on Steam. We don't have any restrictions on them not putting it on Steam. So I love how this whole thing is just kind of
becoming petty,
becoming super petty. Yeah. I mean, even though the FTC apparently has sued, it's going to go through, right? I mean,
We don't seem to have a problem with media empires anymore. So
We certainly don't.
I don't see any way that it doesn't go through.
I mean, Disney acquiring Marvel
Right.
and Star Wars.
Right.
That stuff, I mean, Jesus. Like if any merger wasn't going to go through, it would have been that one because
Right. And the fact that they have gone through, I don't know, it feels weird to pick on Microsoft over this.
Yeah, it does. I don't care about this deal really, honestly. Like if it brings more games to Game
Doesn't
Pass,
affect me,
great.
you know?
Otherwise, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was funny.
I wouldn't mind trying out the campaign modes in future Call of Duties.
Sure, this
On
is
Game
the only
Pass.
way that I'm going to be
I'm
trying.
definitely not paying for those games. So,
I'm not going to be trying anything Call of Duty unless it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So I did for a moment think should I try Battlefield 2042 because that is on Game Pass now. And I was like, I could try it. Game Pass. Like
I wanted to. It's right there.
if I wanted to, it is right there, literally right there. I can try it, but I haven't yet. I might still, but I have too much else to play. My God.
Yeah.
All right. let's talk about this one for just a second because I thought this one was kind of funny as well. Yuji Naka's been rearrested for
Whoops.
insider suspicion of
Whoops.
insider trading again.
Uh-oh,
This
it says on the cover.
For a different insider trading case. This one relating to the developer of that Final Fantasy VII, The First Soldier mobile game.
Mm.
So
I don't know what that is, but okay.
You don't remember it? Well, I think now it's no longer in service. I think they've shut it down, or they announced
okay.
that it's shutting down.
Oh.
But it was a thing. It was a battle royale based on Final Fantasy VII for mobile. Because that sounds like a good idea.
I don't know what constitutes a good idea for mobile at this point, but
Well, that's also true.
yep, but that's a thing.
Yeah.
Probably
Actually,
shouldn't be doing
if,
that.
if Activision brings Call of Duty Mobile to the Switch, that actually makes a whole lot of sense for them to do.
I mean, it is just an
Free to
Android
play.
tablet, so
It is. Why not? They could probably make a good amount of money on that. And it'll run pretty well. Anyway.
Mhm.
Let's get into what you've been playing. And I want to start this off with Greg.
Well, hi.
It was very exciting. I
Yep.
didn't know which of the three of us he was going to start with.
It's in order on the outline.
The dramatic
You're right.
pause.
It's always in order on the outline. You can always tell.
Is that right?
It always is, and it
You've
always
never
changes.
noticed that? You've never noticed that, or
I don't pay that close of attention to
Jesus.
what goes on
the
around me.
outline,
Clearly,
every week after I've edited the show, I go in and I change the order of what you've been playing so
I
that you
see.
can put your games in.
yeah,
it's one of those little quality of life things that CJ does for us
I guess so.
Right.
that apparently only one of us appreciates.
I guess I
Did
could
you
start
even notice it
sneaking in
before
and,
now?
like, rearranging
No, I've
it
always
at the
noticed
last
it.
minute.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Throw it off.
All right.
I'm aware enough to notice that our names are never in the same order every week,
Okay.
Man.
That's
but yet it's the same document. So clearly that's a choice.
That's
it
true.
is a choice. Yeah. I just
It's
want to
the
make
same
sure
document. You know how I know it's the same document? Because it still has my name on it as the author, which is from I don't know how many years ago.
that a long time.
Yeah,
It's also like 120 pages because it's got all the old tweet questions.
Does it? Oh my
Just
God.
like,
I've never scrolled down through all of them.
Oh my, yeah, you're not kidding.
it's huge.
Yeah, I only ever look at page one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so playing a few different things this week. So dug further into the Callisto Protocol.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know how far I am. I'm a few hours in now.
Mhm.
And boy, I like it. I do like it. I like the premise. I think the sound design is fantastic.
Mhm.
Like especially playing in with headphones. Man, that game is freaky because they, you're in this big mechanical. I mean, is it a ship? It's a prison. I don't think
No.
it's a ship.
It's not a ship.
Although I am in the shoe now, which is like a ship. That's the area I'm in now. I don't know if you guys are that far or if you're further than that, but the shoe is like maximum, or it's like the hole, basically. It's where the worst prisoners are. Anyway, that's where I am now. But like, yeah, they've got like all the mechanical, just a lot of things happening in the audio.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they love to do, which freaks me out, is that you can always hear the creatures running around outside the rooms you're in. And it's like spatially, like, it's to your left, and then you hear them scamper across, and now it's on your right, and it freaks me the hell out. So it's really well done.
Is a good game to play with headphones on.
Oh, I actually was playing it today for the first time without headphones, because normally I play at night after my kids are in bed. So of course I put my headphones on, but today all the kids are out and I just had a couple hours to kill. So I was sitting and playing it, and it's not as effective for sure. Just listening to it on speakers. And also the other thing I didn't realize is that your radio buddy comes through on the controller speaker, which I've never been a big fan of. So, either way. So I really like that. I love the premise. I really don't like the combat. The combat is not doing it for me.
Really?
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
What about the combat don't you like?
I don't like when I'm being attacked by multiple enemies. I find it's way too easy to get overwhelmed.
That is definitely true. I think aside from Dead Space, this is more of a game about crowd control. And you have to prioritize enemies by their proximity to you, and also if they have a projectile, right?
The projectiles are what's really messing me up, actually.
Yeah. Projectiles you have to almost prioritize first, because they're going to really mess you up.
Now, like, I get that, and I guess my biggest problem is that I haven't figured out an effective way to do crowd control.
Yeah.
Because again, up until the point where a lot of projectile enemies started appearing, my strategy, because of the dodging mechanic, like you want melee. It's mostly melee combat. Even when you get a gun, it's like, you get almost no ammo.
No, and you mainly use it for finishers.
I was gonna say, and they really try to drive home the point that your gun is actually a melee weapon in this game, right? Like it's for quick shots when you've exposed a weak point, which is great. That's cool, and it feels when it's working, it feels really fluid. Like it feels like it's working perfectly. It's like, yes, I get it. This is how this is supposed to feel, and it feels really good. But man, you put like 3 enemies on the screen at once, and then you add one that has projectiles, and I am just not feeling it. And then there's also the grip. I've got the grip now, which is something where you can actually grab items and enemies. And again, when it's working, it feels great. Like the section I'm in, the shoe, you have to start it up. It's on auxiliary power. You need to start up the power again. And you're in this room where there's these just giant gears. You're up on like this catwalk, and there's these giant gears that are grinding. And one of the things they want you to do, and I did it totally by accident the first time, is there was a guy down below who popped out of the floor, because this game loves monster closets.
That's also true.
Pops out of the floor, and the first thing it is, I grabbed him, which brings him to you, and then you can throw them. It's like using the Force in a Star Wars game.
Well, Dead Space,
and I threw him into the gears. Yeah, okay. I threw him into the gears, and it's like, okay, that's awesome. But then the rest of that fight, I hated. I hated it. Now, one of the things to learn is obviously
one other thing I have to ask you.
Yeah.
Are you playing on minimum
You
security?
know what? I don't know. I want to say I am, but now I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, like one of the things I'm realizing is that, like when it comes to the gun, identifying characters that have projectiles is important, and actually starting to use your weapon as like a long range weapon. And that's it. Because I've started to learn, like, if I can get off a quick headshot on the enemies that I know will spit projectiles at me, then they're melee enemies, right? That the only attack they have, and then they'll usually, I mean, even when they're headless, they'll charge you, and now it's a melee fight, which is what you want, because that's where your character is the most powerful. But yeah, I find the game's a little bit glitchy as well. Like I was having some real issues with it today, actually. So I do like it, but I haven't wrapped my head around the combat especially crowd
Yeah.
control. And I don't know if I'm playing on minimum security. It might not be. One of the things I went and looked online, and one of the things that somebody suggested, which I'm going to try, is in the accessibility options.
Oh,
There's actually an auto dodge feature you can turn on,
really?
which I think I'm going to give a shot. And it's not like an automatic, like, I think you still need to be moving. It's just a little bit more forgiving, especially for enemies that you might not necessarily see that are flanking you.
Right.
It's not, you can't just stand there and do nothing and you're totally safe. That's not how it works, apparently. Like, you still need to be moving. You kind of need to be moving in the right direction and that sort of thing, but it's a little more forgiving. So I'm going to give that a shot.
Yeah, I do not like that dodge mechanic at all.
It's Punch Out.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
in
not good
Space
punch out.
Prison.
It's
Punch Out in Space Prison.
It's
Show
kind of
title.
it's kind of crap punch out because the fact that it doesn't matter which way you're moving to dodge,
right,
makes it just feel like almost like a quick time event.
Well, it does matter.
Like I'm actually
you're saying it doesn't
matters
matter?
based
It
on
does
the
matter.
sequence.
Based
It matters
on
based on the
the
sequence.
direction the attack is coming from initially.
no, it doesn't.
Right?
Really? That's not what it says.
The game at the beginning of the game, when you're about to get hit for the first time, the game pauses itself and brings up a tutorial window that says it doesn't matter which way you push, you just got to be pushing.
What matters is
have to
that
push in
if
the
you've
opposite
dodged
direction.
left, if you've dodged left, the next dodge has to be right.
Yeah.
That's what
But
matters.
yeah, it has
But the initial-
no bearing
Yeah.
on the actual attack the enemy's doing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Which-
it did, but okay.
One of the other things that I read too, I wanted to point out when you're saying that, Phil, because yes, that's my problem as well. One thing that I don't do that I think I'm going to start doing is that apparently the block is very effective. So when you pull back, you block.
Right.
Which I don't do because it feels so counterintuitive. Again, it's punch out. You pull back to
out.
block. But the buffs that you can get and the upgrades you can actually upgrade your block so that it opens them up to an attack.
Okay.
Like it becomes more of a parry, I think.
Yeah.
Which is apparently effective as well. But I don't block, right?
Yeah.
But apparently it's effective. So
Yeah. I want to like it.
Yeah.
The atmosphere and everything, it's cool, but I am not having fun actually playing it. So
Oh, that's too bad.
I do not know how much longer I'm going to last in.
The things that I don't like about it are no map, and
yes.
Also,
because I'm playing multiple things and jumping in and out of those things and coming back to it, I cannot tell which direction I'm supposed to be going in this game. And there's no Dead Space did have a press in R3 and it'll tell you you're supposed to be going this way. Yeah. And that was good. And I can kind of see why they would take that out, because the idea that you might go on an alternate path and find something cool versus just going the main route is nice. And if you're the type of player that likes to search every single room, you might not like that if you go through a door it closes and that other path that I didn't go down, now I can't ever go in that room and see what was in there. But I get it from a gameplay standpoint, especially if this is like a less than 15-hour game. They may want you to replay it.
Yeah. See, my problem with that though is that if you're going to have a radio buddy telling you where to go and what you're doing, let's just drop all pretense. Tell me where the critical path is. I am one of those players that wants to search everywhere, but that's the reason I want to know where the critical path is. Because if I go down the critical path before I check these branches, there's a good chance I can't get back.
That's true.
Correct.
So I'd rather know which way I'm not supposed to go and do that first.
If you shimmy through this pipe, this small opening in these pipes, you may not be able to get back.
Because what it's got me doing is, and I like the last couple hours I've played it, I've done this at least 3 times where it's like, okay, there's a door to the left and a door to the right. Where do I go? I'm going to go left. But then as soon as I see something that's like, that looks important, I'll turn around.
Oh, yeah. Same
and
here.
go the other way. And it's like, it's killing the pacing. completely killing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know. I still kind of like that idea. I can see how it's frustrating. It is frustrating, but I can see how the idea that you're not able to do everything. This was one of the reasons why I like Dead
Sure.
Rising as well. Like you have to make that decision, right? Like you
That's
can't
fair.
do everything in this game, so you have to decide: am I going to go this way or that way, and is that the right or wrong decision?
Dead Rising was way more of a sandbox, though.
Yeah.
That's
This
true.
really isn't.
And you could also have really short runs
That's true.
Yeah.
on Dead Rising, and you play again. And, it's almost like a roguelite at that point.
Yeah.
Whereas
It
this
is.
is just,
Like, yeah.
you play your 15 hours, and if you want to see that right-hand door that you missed the first time, enjoy
10
sitting
hours
down
to
for
get there.
15 more hours.
I hope you remember which fork in the
Yeah.
road it was at.
Luckily, we live in an era where we're not allowed to have backup saves for some reason on alternate accounts. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's one of the things that really bothers me. But anyway,
Disappointed with Callisto.
You are?
Oh, absolutely.
I like I said, I like so much about it that I'm going to keep jamming away on it.
Yeah.
And reading that advice today about and I might be playing on like the standard difficulty. So if I am, I'm going to turn the difficulty down. And I'm definitely turning on that auto dodge and seeing if it makes me like the combat a little bit more, because there's a lot I do like about the combat, and I'm getting into the whole like upgrading the weapons things now, and it's like, okay, so I can make my weapon faster and I can make it a little stronger. Like I unlocked the heavy attack. It's like, okay, cool, because that's actually that it tells you when you get it. It doesn't say crowd control, but the way it describes it, like that is a crowd control move where it's like it will hit multiple enemies at once and it will knock them back. And it's like, okay, thank you. I've been dying for this move for the whole game, and now I've got
the baton, right? That
Yeah,
you
the
talked
baton.
about specifically. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot that I want to like, and I know it's a relatively short game.
Yeah.
So I want to keep playing it, but I'm hoping that these few tweaks will get me over that that hill.
Well, I think the association with Dead Space both helps and hurts it,
because it's not Dead Space.
It's not Dead Space,
and you want it to be. Yeah,
you want it to be. Right, exactly. But if you look at it from the standpoint of, okay, this is Dead Space adjacent, but it's trying to do something a little bit different in terms of its melee focused, and well, that's the main thing, melee focused.
I really also, again, the Radio Buddy thing is so funny to me because they're being so blatant about it, and I like these contrived ways to get that character around the areas where it's like, I'm going through this terrible like basement area that's infested, and risking my life, and then I go up an elevator at the end of my path, and there he is. How'd you get here? Well, I've got different access than you, so I can go to different What? Come on.
I am just waiting for some kind of reveal later.
Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, that's me too. And then the other thing is like, now I'm going into the shoe, which is this like high security area. He was supposed to go on with me. Well, it's on auxiliary power, so now I have to stay in the control room. You're going to have to go by yourself. I was like, screw you, man. I'll stay in the control room. You go.
I did love that area. There's an area in the game, probably just past where you are, where you run through a room that's just behind where he is. Like he's radioing you from like the next room, and there's a glass panel between you. But
like, bro,
it's like, come over. Also, who the hell designed this prison? Like, why is there no clear door between these two rooms? Yeah, why are all these little rooms with a lot of pipes and grinders that are just exposed? That's unsafe.
There's so many OSHA violations in every room.
It's so unsafe, but I guess it is a prison.
Yeah, we don't care about our prisoners.
Space prison. Yeah, exactly.
Inmates. They don't have any rights.
Yeah.
Privatizing
prisons was a
in
mistake.
Space, nobody has any rights.
Exactly.
International waters.
Yeah.
No water there. It's space.
International space.
Well, there's
there you
snow. There's a snowy planet.
Shadowy men from a snowy planet.
Yeah.
Bing, bang, 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 bang. There it is.
It's not going to be on my game of the year list, but I am enjoying it.
No, I want to keep playing it. One of the other new games that came out this week, speaking of games that, well, no, we weren't speaking of this, but man, a game that was just shadow dropped out of nowhere was the new Need for Speed.
Oh,
I'm gonna replace Shadow Dropped with Dumped at the end of the year with no
Holy
marketing.
Crap. No marketing. So Need for Speed Unbound, it's called.
yeah.
And yeah, it's just all of a sudden it was out.
Oh.
And if there was an ad for it ever, I didn't see it.
No,
Which
me
is
neither.
amazing because I mean this is, it's Need for Speed, which used to be like a tentpole franchise for Electronic Arts. And it's oh my god, the developers. Who are the developers?
You're asking
They're
me like
the
I know
Burnout,
racing
the Burnout
game.
people.
Criterion?
Criterion.
Oh.
I believe Criterion. I think they developed it. Anyway, it's on EA Play.
Mhm.
If you have a Game Pass Ultimate account, you've got access to this game. Although I
Well, you've
couldn't
got-
find it.
It's a
Anyway.
10-hour trial, I think.
It's a 10-hour trial.
It's-
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Although I couldn't find it just by going into the EA Play area on Game Pass, I actually had to go find Need for Speed Unbound in the store,
Yeah.
and then
Jeez.
you can see that there's a trial available.
Hmm.
So it's an open world street racing game. Feels kind of like the old Need for Speed Undergrounds. My understanding is, it's very similar to Heat, which was the previous Need for Speed, but I didn't play it. But it's sort of the standard, like it's, you're basically playing story mode. I mean, there's a multiplayer I haven't tried yet. Basically, it's playing story mode. You end up in a situation where you have this ratty old car. You have to upgrade it. You got to go take part in street races. There's some ridiculous story.
Mhm.
There's somebody put this on Twitter, and I think it's the best way to describe it. It's like the okayest racing game you've ever played. There's like, I can see
It's a box
why they dumped it. It's not a bad game. There's nothing in my mind anyway, from playing it for a few hours now. There's nothing that makes it stand out at all. It feels so by the numbers. Yeah, it's just there's some interesting choices here. So the game is like, the cars are very realistic. The world looks very realistic. But the characters are all cell shaded. So they look like cartoons.
Okay.
Which is a weird choice, but they absolutely stand out against the backdrop. There's no getting around that, for better or worse. And then the other thing is that they've got a tag system where the cars will sort of give off cartoonish visuals depending on what you're doing. So like if you jump, depending on what tag, like I think the default one I have is a pair of wings. Depending on what tag you have assigned, and there are a lot of different ones, cartoonish little wings will just appear by your car. They look like graffiti in the space by your car. Or like if you're doing a burnout, like you'll see sort of cartoonish symbols emanating from your rear wheels. When you drift, which the game wants you to do a lot, the smoke that comes up off the rear tires is like cell shaded, and it's got color. It's infused with whatever color you've got assigned to it. It's an interesting idea that it's honestly, like, it doesn't bother me. The only thing that that and the characters, because the characters are super colorful as well. I actually really like the character designs in this game. The only thing that it really does for me, though, is it actually really calls into contrast how drab the world is. Like the city has no color. It's very gray and brown and black, and even in the daytime it's just a boring city. You don't have any, like, there's not, even if you had like sort of like a downtown core where the buildings were lit up with different colors or something, there'd be something, but there's no big landmarks anywhere. It's just this big highway system that and city roads that just don't have any. The only color that I've seen are the gas stations, and they're like quick repairs. You drive through them, repairs the damage on your car. But yeah, like that's the only bit of color outside of these two elements they've got, and I feel like it might have been a conscious decision to make those elements stand out more. But really, what it does is just like, hey, here's the 2 bits of fun visuals we have, and everything else sucks. You know, it's really too bad. And the game itself, it plays okay. They really want you to be able to drift everywhere, but I find that the drifting doesn't feel all that intuitive. It feels like the cars slow to a stop when you're drifting, and the general sense of speed, it isn't there, especially when you're racing, and I don't know why. And I wanted to chalk it up originally to that I was in the start of the game, and it just, you know, like, okay, so these cars are relatively slow, but you actually start the game with, I think, S ranked cars. Because the whole story is you start with an actually really nice car, and then something happens, and then you're down to, like, you know, a C ranked car. So you actually, then you get into the slow cars. But like, even on with the faster cars, you just like it, my speedometer says I'm going 200 miles an hour. Boy, does it feel like I'm going about 50. Like, it just, there is no sense of speed whatsoever. So yeah, I can see why they dumped it. Like I said, I think it would get middling reviews. I don't know if it has, but that's where I would like, if I was to review it, I wouldn't say it's a bad game. It's just a really mediocre game. So, you know, but it's too bad. And one of the things that it really, for me, between the Game Awards and Need for Speed and actually playing a lot of God of War 2018, boy, is it ever reminding me how so many of my old favorite franchises have just left me behind. There's so many of them that are not being made for me anymore.
Forza Horizon,
yeah,
and Need for Speed.
Need for Speed, because I don't call everybody
big ones.
bruh. So, you know, I'm definitely not in the target demographic for that. But yeah, anyway, it's like I said, somebody on Twitter said it best, which is like, it's the okayest racing game ever. Would you say it leaves you with a need for speed? Asked Scoop Joey. Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Let's see.
A couple more games I'm playing. So playing more God of War 2018. And all I really want to say about that is that I love the combat, although it is weird going from like Callisto Protocol back to that, because the combat is so much nicer in God of War. But and I've finally gotten sort of out of the main hub world to, I forget which realm I've moved to now, but it was really nice to get sort of a change of color and a change of enemies. Now I'm fighting dark elves in there now, which is very cool. The only thing that I'm really glad that I complained about it on Twitter. I'm not down with all the buying the different armor and upgrading the different elements, and there's too much of it, and it's not really what I want from a God of War game. But I've been told by so many people on Twitter, it's like, you don't need to pay attention to any of it, really. Just sort of, you know, upgrade your armor every now and then, and pick something that you really like, and you'll be fine through the game, especially if we're playing on an easier mode. So I feel better about that now, because I just felt like every time I got into a store, I was spending forever sifting through menus about stuff I didn't care about, you know. It feels extraneous, because while there's a bit of an open world element to this game, it is linear, really. So it's like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, man, just unlock new armor. Just give me new armor. You know, when it's time to take new armor, give it to me. I'll take it, and I'll keep going. So, but I mean, I am really enjoying it. I hopefully I'll finish that. I don't know that I'll finish it fast enough to actually play a lot of Ragnarok this year, but I'm hoping I do. I don't know how long the first God of War is. I know Ragnarok's really long. And then the other game I can't put down is Vampire Survivors.
No,
and I cannot put that game down. Every time I play it, I unlock something new. Yeah. Like, yeah, I and now it's common to do like a 30-minute run. And I love that they give you an unlock list, because now I'm just basically working down the unlock list and getting new characters and getting new items. And yeah, every time I play it, I unlock something new that I didn't even know existed. really, 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 really enjoying it. Phil, you're playing this, right?
I did. I downloaded it on Game Pass yesterday
Me too.
and gave it a try.
Yeah.
What do you think so far?
It's fine.
You don't like it.
You don't like Vampire Survivors?
It's fine. I can see why people would like it.
If it had Mega Man in it instead of Castlevania, you'd like it.
I mean, it doesn't have. Well, I mean, it technically has Castlevania because the title screen artwork is traced from Castlevania. You'd think I'd love this because the title screen artwork is traced from Castlevania and Bayonetta.
Mm.
So I should love it because the guy who made the game stole stuff from games I like. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I played a few runs of it, and I think I'm probably done with it at this point.
Boo.
Wow.
It's not doing it for me.
Okay.
I mean,
It does for me. It definitely started out slow. It really does. But once you've, you know what? I don't even know what the tipping point was. I don't remember exactly like what the moment was where it clicked for me, and I think it was when I started to understand the level up system, the item level up system, and how they work together, especially when I think when I unlocked the grimoire and it starts to tell you how to evolve your weapons. That was when it really hit me, because when you get into the evolved weapons, the runs start to get a lot longer.
right.
You also start to understand about, levels do have objectives. You don't necessarily have to go get them. So it actually makes sense early on to harvest experience early in a run.
Yeah.
And when you start to get good at that, and you also start to understand that, like I said, when you learn what the weapon evolves are, to even sometimes start saving the chests when you realize the boss monsters are coming in, and that's where the chests are coming from. Because the chests are how you get the evolved weapons. Like, I think just sort of getting to grips with those two systems was sort of the tip of the iceberg. And once you start getting the weapon evolves, that's when you're like 30 minutes into a run and the screen is just covered, but you're just like this merchant of death that's just raining fire on everything. And it's supremely satisfying. But all that being said, if you've played it enough that you get to that point and you understand it and it's still not clicking, then it's never going to click.
Yeah.
You're never going to be interested in it.
I mean, I got it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, it's not
for you.
It's not doing it for me.
Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I have another friend who's the same way, because I was talking it up to him and he was like, I don't really dig it. And I said, well, after you play it for a few runs, if you hit a point like that, you're either going to love it or you're still not going to be interested. You say, well, I've played it for like 6 hours. Like, okay, so it's not for you.
I certainly didn't play it for 6 hours.
Yeah. So
I don't hate myself that much. But
Well, then tell us what else you've been playing, Phil.
well, aside from the Callisto Protocol, which I wish I enjoyed but don't,
Phil's cranky old man Phil tonight.
and aside from
We'll see how this
Vampire
goes.
Survivors,
Seriously.
which I wish I enjoyed but don't, I did break down and buy a Giga Bash,
Gigabash.
the kind of King of the Monsters inspired
Oh, right.
Kaiju fighting game.
kaiju fighting game, which I suddenly became interested in when they released Godzilla DLC.
Yeah.
So yeah, originally, it was all like kind of made up. I mean, well, all kaiju are made up. That's
Yeah.
the nature.
I was gonna say, not a whole lot of historical accuracy.
But unlicensed kaiju. They just had a bunch of like kind of fake, Godzilla-esque type monsters. But you can spend $10 now and you get 4 actual Toho licensed. What do you get? Godzilla, Gigan, Destroya, and Mecha Godzilla are in the game now. So I picked it up, and it's kind of a cute game.
Yeah.
It's a fun little kind of simplistic brawler. I haven't played a ton of it yet. I played through the arcade mode, which is just fight a bunch of monsters and then you beat the game. But it seems like a fun little brawler.
Okay.
Seems like it'd be a good time if you had a buddy to play with.
Yeah.
But which clearly I do not.
Wait, Finn's not playing it?
Oh, he did. Come on, it's not a Roblox game. He doesn't care about.
Okay, all right.
He doesn't care about
non-Roblox games.
No, I mean he did. He certainly was excited about the new Pokemon.
Yeah.
He put down Roblox for
that
a few dozen hours so he could play through that. But he's upstairs right now. He's back on the old Roblox game.
I see.
But yeah, it's not a ton to talk about because it is a relatively simplistic beat 'em up. The camera's kind of set up like King of the Monsters where it's sort of zoomed out from the action, so you don't get like a whole. You are stomping through cities and you're picking up buildings and throwing them at each other and stuff like that. But there's not really that sense of scale, that you would get just because the camera is pulled out so far, like in King of the Monsters. But yeah, it's a good little time.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that's all I've been playing.
That's it. Okay.
I mean, 3 games.
3 games. That's good. Yeah.
I mean, it's not my fault. We already talked about 2 of them.
Hating on 2 of them.
I don't want to hate them.
Yeah. I get it.
They're not clicking with me.
Not cookie clicking with you.
I get
They're
it.
not cooking. They're not cookie clicking.
Nope.
Absolutely not. So maybe I'm just down this week because of Yuji Naka.
Down about the rearrest.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Yeah.
I thought he was able to evade the law, but it seems it's caught up with him yet again.
He didn't go fast.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, not fast enough.
Taking the money and run.
What was it? Was it the hard drive? I think the website, the hard drive.
Yeah.
The video game onion fake news stuff. I think it was them who had the headline about Yuji Naka thinking he could continue to evade arrest if he was able to hang on to $1. Something like that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was cute.
I like that. Yeah.
But yeah. That's it for me.
Alrighty. Well, I guess that means I'm up.
You know what? Real quick.
What's
you know what else I was playing on the old Analog Pocket?
Oh,
CJ.
Yeah.
You'll appreciate this.
I hope so.
Playing a little Mole Mania.
Mole Mania, it's got to be. Yeah.
Great
I
game.
love that game.
Classic. Overlooked classic Mole Mania on the original Game Boy.
It is so good.
But yeah, playing it on my TV. Oh, it looks great. Anyway,
I don't mean to overhype that game, but it's a nice game.
It's a fun game. Well,
it's not like it's a very fun game, but I feel like maybe we've overhyped it.
It's
over the years.
The reason we've overhyped it is because it was so criminally overlooked.
Yeah.
Especially for first party release.
That's true.
And it has been so thoroughly ignored even by Nintendo, even when Nintendo created a system that seemed custom made for a Mole Mania revival. And that's
sort of dual screen. Yeah.
The above ground, because the whole gimmick
low. Yeah.
The whole gimmick of Mole Mania is you're running around and then you can dig underground and you're working your way through mazes above and below the earth.
Yep.
Perfect for a split screen system, but
well, they put sections of that in Twilight Princess. That's just about enough as we'll get, right? Anyway.
Yeah. Mole Mania is a better game than Twilight Princess.
I don't know if I would go that far.
I would absolutely go that far, but then I didn't really like
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess.
Oh, that's a shame. Alrighty.
Yeah.
I've been playing some video games.
Is that right?
Yeah, I've been playing a heck of a lot of Pokemon Scarlet. I am at the end of that game. I have defeated the Elite Four, become the champion that I was born to be. And I've been doing the stuff that happens after that. And this game actually has a fair amount of things that happen after you defeat the Elite Four, which a couple of prior Pokemon games have had that too, but I've like never really gone much past the Elite Four in prior games. But this time there's a whole bunch more stuff to do, so I'm doing that.
You haven't even rolled credits.
I have not rolled credits on it yet.
So you're not even technically in the post game.
Not technically in the post game, right? You're right.
So,
but I think I'm close to that point.
Okay.
And I've been playing it, and my daughter has been watching me play, and we've been doing voice acting of the characters because the game's not voiced, but
it is in CJ's house.
This thing, and I used to do this thing when my daughter was into Dragon Quest Builders and Dragon Quest Builders 2. I would have her read the text because initially she wanted me to read all the text. I'm not doing that reading. What do I look like, some guy who reads? No.
Wow.
She is learning how to read.
Brought to you by Parent of the Year.
This is the first step in our road to discovery that CJ's actually illiterate.
That would explain EGM's news section 20 years ago.
Wow. Wow. All right.
You just couldn't read the instructions for Flintstones bowling. That's why you gave it. He didn't read the dialogue box about the Callisto Protocol's dodging.
Oh, that's true.
That's true. Well,
there we go.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yep. There it is.
But anyway, so yeah, we're going back and forth. She's reading aloud the parts that are the female characters, and I'm reading the male characters in the game. And
are you doing different voices for them?
Yes, we're doing different voices for them.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not going to do the voices.
So I want to hear your Arvin voice.
I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it justice on the show. I have to have the visuals of the game to really get it. But there is a voice, and my daughter loves my Arvin voice, and just it tickles her every time I do it. And it's very similar to the Bentley voice. Very similar to the Bentley voice that I've done on the show. Or
to the Bentley voice?
For some reason, yeah, I don't know
why. Pokemon's very sick.
Exactly.
We need to get him a sandwich.
That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been doing something
so
very akin
which
to that.
Characters, which Pokemon characters Anime Prospector?
None of them.
You have more than two voices? Because those are two great voices.
I only have to do the one voice because your protagonist is basically silent, doesn't
What about when you talk to like some of the professors or gym leaders?
Well, we've just started doing this, so there aren't any professors or gym leaders in the post game, so I don't have to do it. And in your party in the post game, there are like two female characters that are with you also. So she's doing the voice for both of those and just reading the text. It's great. But she's having fun. I'm having fun. It's good. But yeah, I think I'm on the last battle. And I had to snooze my Switch system right before recording because it was right at the end, basically.
Oh my.
But yeah, having a lot of fun with that game. Technical issues aside, I am really liking this game. I think this game's story hits me more than others, because the whole thing is it has a lot of interesting themes. It's not just the traditional story of Pokemon is you turn 12 or whatever, you get, I don't know what age this is, and Phil here is going to remain silent on all of this. Don't correct me on anything, please. I can't be corrected. But
it's clear you've never really played one of these games in a while.
I guess so. I guess you're right. I mean, I played them, but maybe I haven't even been paying attention to the story much in the more recent games. I've just been doing the gyms. But this one has sort of three storylines that are going at once, right? Phil, you look like you want to say something.
No, it's true. Yes, you are correct. You are
There are
correct.
3 storylines going, and they all sort of meet up towards the end after the Elite Four and turn into one story together. And it's interesting in the way that it does it. And there's a lot in the game about bullying and anti-bullying and just being true to yourself and friendship. Wow, this sounds so stupid, but it really kind of hits me as an important game. And maybe it's just because everything else in the world sucks, right? To have a game where you have a rival that is friendly to you and like wants to be your friend, but also wants to beat the crap out of you in a Pokemon battle, like is fun. It's refreshing, even though the story of Pokemon games has been recycled over and over and over again.
You really haven't played a Pokemon game in a while.
I guess not, but but no, I think the story is hitting me differently this time around, and of course, it's remixed the same story each time, but it's hitting me a little bit different this time. So that is to say, I'm enjoying the combat and enjoying the gameplay. I'm in Area 0 right now, finishing up whatever the main quest is, and then I'll go into the post game. And I'm really looking forward to all that. And my daughter, similarly, is like at the Elite Four, so she's been playing her own game as well. I like it. Anyway, let's move on. I played Divine Knockout, which is a 3D brawler / fighting game, an arena brawler. And it's free on PlayStation Plus. It's one of the free games for PlayStation Plus this month. And it is Hi-Rez Studios who is doing this. And it's cel-shaded characters. They're sort of based on some of the characters from Smite, which of course is another Hi-Rez game. But they're sort of super deformed looking characters. And it's sort of Smash Brothers, but I guess Power Stone is probably the closest equivalent to it. It's a 3D fighter. You have different characters with different abilities, and they're all pretty much mapped to buttons. So there's not like moves that you have to memorize or anything like that. It's very simple controls, a la Smash Brothers, really. Anybody can get into it. And then the stages that you fight in often have like environmental hazards as well. But the idea, very similar to Smash Brothers, is the damage percentage goes up, like the percent chance that you're going to get KO'd goes up until you eventually get knocked out. And I played a couple rounds of it, had a lot of fun with it, actually. It is a cross-play game as well on other platforms. Right now they have like a Founders Pack thing going on, so it is paid, but I think eventually it will be free to play in a similar way to like Smite and Paladins and all of those games. But it's kind of a fun little game to just mess around with. You can power up some of the move sets and really like tailor the characters to your play style, but I kind of like it. It has that thing that Smash Brothers has, and Multiversus has this as well, where you can like, if you get knocked off the stage, you can double jump and then also like dash to try to get back on.
Oh yeah.
So, but it's pretty fun, and hey, it's free on PlayStation Plus this month, so might be worth checking out.
Nito Mosquito.
I like the visuals. And then I've also been playing Dragon Quest Treasures.
What is this one?
Dragon Quest Treasures is sort of an offshoot, apparently starring 2 characters that were sort of minimal characters in Dragon Quest XI. But this time they are treasure hunters. That's their whole motivation, is collecting treasure, getting money. And initially they are working for a band of pirates, but they want to go off on their own. So they sneak out and do that and get entangled with these enchanted daggers that allow them to see the location of treasure. They get visions from monsters that will show them the location of treasure in the world. So one of the gameplay hooks is that you can have a party of monsters, of like Dragon Quest monsters coming along with you. And when you get nearby some treasure, the monsters will have visions and they'll show little thumbnails of where the treasure might be on the map. And then you can find them in the environment. And it's a pretty interesting game. The combat, you don't do a whole lot of combat yourself. You can melee other monsters with your dagger, and you can also like use a slingshot to inflict some damage, some more damage. You also use that slingshot to like heal your party members. So the whole thing happens in 3D. But basically, your party of monsters fights for you. You just have to run around and either buff them or shoot at the enemies if you feel you have to. But I haven't had to. I've just let the monsters do the battling for me. And you can recruit monsters to your party that you've defeated. So if they like you after you've killed them, you can recruit them to your party. And have them even you try to establish a base, and you can assign monsters to do different tasks within that base. So it's kind of a much more casual RPG than even like Dragon Quest XI.
Okay.
But it's an interesting little game that I feel similarly to maybe Need for Speed just kind of got dumped out in December.
Yeah, I had no idea this was even a thing.
With no hype whatsoever. There's not even a demo. Like the previous couple Dragon Quest games got demos that then you could like transfer the progress over to the full game. This doesn't have. They didn't do that with this. But it is a neat little starter RPG. It's a very casual RPG. You don't need to like, there's not a whole lot of systems involved in this, which personally I prefer.
I love that.
Yep. But so I started playing that and got a copy for my daughter as well, because she likes Dragon Quest a whole lot, and thought maybe we could play this together after we're both done with Pokemon. She really wants Dragon Quest Builders 3.
Oh.
I think the studio that did Dragon Quest Builders is no longer around, so I don't know if we're going to get a Dragon Quest Builders 3.
You should definitely tell her that before Christmas.
Yeah,
just ruin Christmas, like, or Christmas morning.
They're not making one. Yeah, I don't know why they're not making one though. I thought Builders 2 was a great game. I thought it did really well, but oh well. But yeah, I'm enjoying what I've played so far of Dragon Quest Treasures. It's a sort of simple RPG, and I'm loving that part of it. I don't like my RPGs to be too complicated.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, that is all I've been playing. So I guess that means it's time for tweets.
A tweedly diddly dee. A tweedly diddly dee. Tweet. A tweet. A tweet.
All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias Insipid Ghost, who says 2 successful Sonic movies and what looks like a successful Mario movie. Throw Wreck-It Ralph in there, and some solid video game films are out there. What was missing before that's here now?
What? I didn't follow the thread of that at all.
We have a lot of successful video game movies that are actually good now.
Okay.
Right.
Whereas before they would do video game movies that are bad. What is different between the past and now?
Better video game movies.
Better video game. I think part of it is the people behind the creative on those movies grew up with video games and know what they are, versus the old Hollywood that had no idea what the F they were making.
Yep, that's
a
really good point.
Making kids cash-in movies and didn't care about the content. Versus now you have creative teams that actually kind of care about how these things are done.
Video games are also more mainstream nowadays.
Much more.
And studios are more readily able to be convinced that making a video game movie that is true to the source material is not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I feel like Sonic 2 really drove that home, because while it was like a good, fun movie, there were so many nods to. It was clear the people who made it were big fans from like back in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't get mired in that. They still made a fun movie for modern audiences, but going in as someone, as an old man taking his kids to see the movie, there were so many things in that film that, I was just like, oh yeah, oh that's like that's so cool. Like, they clearly were big fans of like Sonic on the Genesis, because there were so many hints to that. So yeah, I think that's a great point, that it's actually being made by people who grew up with this stuff, as opposed to people who discovered it because it was making a lot of money in the 80s and 90s and had to get on that somehow.
Well, that still might be why some of these deals are being made in the first place. Once those deals are made, they're giving them to the right people to make the transition from game to screen.
It's kind of similar to like the MCU stuff.
It's
right?
exactly similar to the MCU, and also I would say Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's exactly similar to those.
Like the clearly the people who are in charge of the MCU films know the comics, as opposed to knowing that there's a popular character that dresses in a metal suit and flies, and kind of just goes with that, so
absolutely. And in the chat, one of our listeners says the right generation of directors plus not exclusively live action. Absolutely agree. Yes, that is for sure the case. All right, let's do this one from Hacker Alias 2D Kicks, who says, looking back on your 2021 Game of the Year lists, is there anything that you'd like to change? I don't even remember what I put.
Yeah, somebody should include the games of the year from 2021, because I couldn't tell you what I picked.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what I
think I do remember. I think I do remember, though, that Phil, you and I had very similar lists, right? Like our 4, 3, 2, 1 were the same, right?
That sounds possible.
Sure. Why not?
I don't remember what they were. It was like Ratchet & Clank was on there.
I found mine.
What is yours?
I have a Word file here.
Oh.
I must have one of those too.
I must too.
2021.
Yeah.
Game of the Year, my top 5. Counting down from number 5.
Oh.
We got Kena Bridge of Spirits, Metroid Dread, Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury.
Yep.
Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart.
Yeah.
And Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, so our 4 through 1 were the same.
Yeah. No, I stand by that.
I had Forgotten City on my number 5.
I think I put Kena as number 1, and I definitely stick by that.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, maybe it was Guardians was number 1. Yeah, I mean, Guardians was great. Kena was great.
I thought we all agreed on Guardians as number 1.
I think you're right.
I think you're right. Yeah. No regrets. Absolutely.
No.
Yeah. My biggest surprise was that Guardians was good.
Yeah.
My biggest
that was also my biggest surprise.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
My biggest disappointment was ending up in Group B on my analog pocket order.
Hey, you got it now.
Is moot now because here it is.
Yeah.
So
my biggest disappointment, Returnal.
Oh God, I wanted to like that game so badly.
I wanted to like Returnal.
Yeah, same here.
And then Mario Golf was, Mario Golf.
Mm-hmm.
Not the good kind. Anyway.
Now I stand by my 2021 stuff.
I think
I don't know what mine was, but I stand by mine too.
Yeah, I stand by it, and I'm coming up with. I'm crafting a list for the 2022 game.
Yeah, checking it twice.
Been getting pretty close to mine.
Exactly. I don't think it's going to be the same as either of yours.
Probably not.
Not similar.
You do play a lot of garbage,
like last year. I absolutely do, and it's good garbage. Nothing wrong with a few 7 out of 10s.
So Need for Speed's going to be on your top 5?
I said 7 out of 10s, not 3 out of 10s.
Ouch.
Just
I said
man.
mediocre.
Yeah.
Not
on
bad.
the EGM scale.
Yeah, that's a
That'd be a 5, CJ.
Right. All right, I think that's a good place to stop. We've been going for too long. Too
Yes.
long.
Another long
My goodness.
episode.
Thanks. Alrighty, and that is our show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1 Podcast on the Twitters, or you can go to our internet website at player1podcast.com. There you'll find our contact information. You'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Seward. You'll also find Generation 16 episodes there as they happen.
Still working on one for this thing.
Oh, yes.
It's not remotely timely anymore, but I'm almost
The-
done. So
the
I'm gonna
Genesis
get there.
Mini 2. He was
Yeah,
holding up to the
yes.
camera right there. And you will also find show notes and links to all the things that we talked about on the episode. And you'll find a link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you would like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by loading your favorite podcast listening app. We're also on Stitcher Radio. We're on Spotify. You can like us on Facebook. You can watch video archives of our show on the youtubes.com/P1 Podcast, or you can watch us live most weeks on the YouTubes, the Twitters, Facebooks, Twitch.televisions, every danged place. Just follow our Twitter account, which is @P1 Podcast, to find out when we are doing our next live show. Typically, it is Sunday evenings at 5:30 Pacific time. So join us, won't you? And I'll tell you what, if you like what you've heard, and how could you? Head over to patreon.com/P1 Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. I don't know. I don't have a CJ stealing our money quip for this week.
Maybe he's not this time.
Maybe he's not.
Maybe he finally saw the error of his ways.
Maybe what he's been doing is secretly funneling it to Yuji Naka.
Little insider trading.
Exactly. He's
No.
been covering his tracks. Are
That
you
son of a bitch?
laundering Yuji Naka's money?
No.
Are you sure?
I
This whole
can say completely
Unequivocally?
I have not.
This whole
Been
podcast
laundering
hasn't been
any
an
money.
elaborate
This whole
money
podcast,
laundering operation.
this whole podcast out of order.
That's all right.
Well, if you trust us to not be laundering money back to Yuji Naka's secret
So
offshore
stupid.
accounts,
Yeah.
feel free to head over and donate some money. No, you know what? Your Patreon funds do, of course, go to support the show, keep us streaming on the melon and all that stuff. And I'll tell you what, if you are a Patreon supporter of the $5 tier,
Cheap.
you gain access to a special bonus episode that we record right after this, where we play games, crack wise, having fun, doing all the stuff we can't do on the regular show. CJ,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
we have a game this week?
Yes, we do, Phil.
Oh,
We have an EGM review game. This one
Oh.
from November 1997. Yes, 25 years ago.
oofa doof.
Oofa doofa. Yes. We'll see how many games you can identify with the names of developers
Probably
and
not
games blanked
many.
out.
Probably not many. No.
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know.
Well, we'll
just
find
have
out.
to
Tune
see.
in.
The December issue of EGM, of course, so big, so large, so
Girthy.
engorged that with content that it'll probably be
Gorged.
two after shows worth.
Oh
of,
my. Well,
stuff. Yeah.
please tune in.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if you have a couple bucks left over, head over to patreon.com/Greg Seward to help support Greg's outstanding, and it is outstanding, web series about North America's favorite runner-up, the Sega Genesis.
Thank you, Philip. And if you are a patron of the $5 variety,
Also cheap.
you get access to the Weekly Commute, which is a weekly vlog series. Well, mostly weekly. It hasn't been weekly lately, but I'm getting back on there. Where I talk about the videos I'm working on, mostly talking about the Mega Drive Mini 2 right now. telling some nice stories about games in my collection and the memories of working in the games industry. What I really think of Phil and CJ. What you just want to check it out. You want to check it out. I was telling a fun story today about a press junket for a Codemasters game. And that's all I'm gonna say.
I see.
Ooh.
You should come check it out. I just posted it. I just realized as we were doing this outro that I hadn't posted it yet. So it's posted now.
Oh my goodness.
But yes, please come support the show.
There you go. Well, thank you, Greg. I guess that's it.
I think that's it.
Guess that's it. CJ, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Phil.
Oh, of course. Gregory.
Yo.
Thank you as well.
Merci, Philip.
Oh, beaucoup. And of course, a big old thank you to you. Yes, you. That very person, not CJ.
You. No.
And thank you.
Okay. No.
Greg's got the right idea.
Yeah, I was pointing to the right people.
Yeah. I'm thanking Greg's camera. There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in low these many weeks. Remember, as always, take care of yourself, your loved ones, your family, your friends. Do what you got to do to be safe. And we hope to see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.